Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Mishal Saeed, and in each episode, we cover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we're thrilled to have Janneh Wright joining us. He is the founder and CEO of Primus Business Management. Janneh leads a consultancy that empowers startups, small businesses, and nonprofits with accounting, HR, marketing solutions with a mission to advance economic empowerment for minority and Black communities. We'll explore his founding story, how Primus is transforming organizational capacity, and what the vision looks like for scaling this purpose-driven firm. So with that being said, let's dive in. Janneh, welcome to Founders Future.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolute pleasure having you on. Let's kick things off for the listeners. Take us back to the beginning. What specific problem in the business management landscape inspired you to actually start Primus Business Management?
Sure. So I graduated college right around September 11th, and I live in New York City. So when I came home, pretty much my degree in economics was useless. Most of the companies were leaving New York City. And one day I have a minor in accounting, and I'm seeing people in my neighborhood, my family members have companies, my friends' parents have companies, and one of the things that was very evident is they don't do accounting. Small business owners, that's the last thing on their brain. They think accounting is only needed when it's time to do taxes, but they don't really understand some of the nuances of the information you get from accounting. So that's what started. It started wanting to help people just do little jobs. It wasn't really making any money. It wasn't really something that was like, oh, I'm gonna become an entrepreneur. I'm gonna do accounting for companies. It wasn't really that. It was really how can I really assist my family members, assist the friends of my families, and do their accounting stuff in the back end. And what happened from there, as I got into their office and I'm sitting with them, I'm seeing piles of paperwork and I'm hearing issues with employees. And I'm starting to realize that a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people who start businesses don't really think about the business side of it. And it becomes really a back thought for them, right? They are going to work on the thing that they wanted to do in the first place. And the accounting is the next, the IT stuff is next. All these were things that weren't really important. So I started doing all those for them. As you said at the beginning, it was accounting, it was human resources, it was IT, it was marketing, it was all the aspects of this kind of business, the business handyman, right? Anything that had to do with the back office, I was doing for organizations. But after a while, you realize that's a lot. So I really started to focus in on what was really important to them after a while. And what we end up focusing in on was just three areas, which is accounting, human resource management, and admin operational management for organizations.
Love that. As far as what it looks like, you're working in all different areas of businesses, helping them uplift them and elevating them to where they need to be. So with the core offer, would love for you to get into the nuts and bolts of that. Really, how Primus generates revenue today. What is the core offer? How do you structure it for some of the clients that you work with? And is there like a specific type of client that you work with as well, or are you industry agnostic on that front? Multi-part question. I'd love for you to break that down.
Sure. So I'll start with the last part. We are industry agnostic, right? The feeling that we have is that we are business people, right? The creative side is secondary to the business side. So we are business people. So back office management is the primary offer that we offer organizations. As we're going in, we're talking about how do we help you put in systems and structure for the back office? Because if you create that foundation, the growth of your organization is going to happen better, right? Because you don't want to create systems for a one-person team and then end up with 10 people and you're just using the same systems. So for us, the back office management is the major part of our offer. We do that by really focusing on those three key areas: accounting, human resource management, and operational and administrative support. And so when we developed these systems, the thing that came to us, and this is probably maybe 10, 15 years ago, was how do we do this right? How do we do this perfectly? How do we do this in a way that creates systems, create longevity, create growth in an organization? And that's when we developed this 3C model, right? The 3Cs, which just stand for compliance, culture, and consistency, just really highlights the theory between how we work with all organizations that we're working. If we come into your organization, you hire us, the first thing anybody out of any one of my team members' mouth is, let me see your last audit. Let me see that you're paying your DOL taxes. Let me see that all the things that are required in compliance method is up to speed, and we make sure those are running. Next, we're talking to people about, what's the culture of the organization? What is the PTO management? How do people talk to each other? What's the environment that helps things move quickly around the organization? And how do people engage with each other? What's your evaluation process? All these things are important for an organization to really grow. So we really highlight that. And the last part is, how do you do this the same way month after month, day after day, week after week to ensure the consistency of the work. And that's the last part, right? How do you write your SOPs? How do you create systems and policies and manuals, all these things to really help organizations design? So when we put those three together, you have a foundation for the organization that can really grow into the future, regardless of their size, regardless of how much funds they're bringing in, how much funds they're not bringing in, regardless of staffing, new staff, old staff, all these things together. When you put these three C's together in your organization, it creates a foundation for your truth and for your growth. So that's what we do. That's like the crux of the service that we offer everyone.
I love that. Incredible. And you best put it as the fact of this being the three C's, focusing on really the organization aspect, helping organizations really systematize and be successful on that front so that they can thrive from a profitability standpoint.
Exactly.
As far as it looks with scaling this, what is your vision? Because it looks like from a lot of what you're doing, it's customized, tailored as per the organization that you work with. And oftentimes, with that type of fulfillment model, there are inherent caps on how many clients you can take on. So, what does that next step look like for you? Scaling this in a fashion that is sustainable, effective. How are you navigating that as a founder?
One of the things that we do, right, we create this 3C, so we have to turn internally, right? So we have our systems of hiring processes, holding on to resumes, having conversations with people for longevity. So for us, the scale of this organization grows with each client that we have, right?
Mm.
There's a metrics that we create of how many clients each employee can manage. There's a metric that we create because we want to make sure that's as low as possible while being profitable. So that way we ensure that no one team member has 7 clients and they're like stressed out so the client doesn't get the kind of interaction they have. So we're
Yeah.
always looking at when's the time to hire the next person? When's the time to grow this section? What is happening in the conversations? And I'll tell you from about a year ago, but 2 years ago, when clients started to grow, right?
Mm.
One of the things that we added on was recruitment, right? Because
Mm.
we saw a need. And for us, it's back office services, so it still fit into our directional growth. But
Mhm.
it's always looking at listening to the clients, understanding where they're going, understand what they need, and figuring out if that need is something that we can really assist them with, and keeping in that same mindset that we are a back office services. So you won't see me doing anything that's front office. We don't do development, we don't do those parts, but we're always
Right.
looking and understanding like who we are as an organization is
Mm.
important, right? Our
Mm.
culture, our systems, our consistency is important. So when we're thinking about growth, when we think about future, we're always thinking about what is it the client needs, what is it that we're capable of doing? Do we have the right staffing in place to do that next jump? Is there
Mm.
something new happening? And right now, AI is that new happening that's putting some fear in people. But we also have ideas of how we're going to manage that as well. But it's
Right.
always about making sure that you can manage the environment, manage the client need, and manage the systems around you to ensure that the growth is working out and that you can go where you want to go with it. Like just being very forthcoming of where you want to go with your company.
Yeah, 100%. So I love the fact that you're conscientious as a founder on how you're going to start to really scale and really focus on systemizing things. If you're working with someone, how much from a staffing perspective are you going to need to bring in to help that organization to get to where it needs to be? As far as the client acquisition side of things goes, talk to us a little bit about what strategies you've implemented to generate leads for Primus, whether that's paid ads, organic, social media, referral. What's been working best on that front?
Sure. I think I've tried most things. I think I've tried everything so far. Paid ads, I don't feel work for our organization like us because it's just paid ads is just a little bit too generic in certain ways, right?
Mhm.
So it's hard for us to get clients who are just going to see us and jumping in. Because for us, the work we do is a real bond between us and our clients, right? You have to trust us to do this work. So we have in HR, we have all your information, we have your bank account information, accounting. So we have a lot of information. So
Mhm.
most times the best acquisitions comes from referrals, right?
Mhm.
Someone talking about us, someone saying, yeah, we work with Primus and they're trustworthy, they're really good at what they do. So most times it comes from that. As an organization is trying to grow, you can't rely on referrals only, right? It's only so far. You can't sit and wish somebody's talking about you someplace else to help you get
Yeah.
more business. So we've done a couple of things over the last couple of years. One is we work with an organization that actually does emailing for us, right? So they do a lot of engagement with potential leads, just emailing them, talking to them about who we are. And once they get to that point where they want to meet with us, then it gets transferred over to me and I do the conversations about how we can assist them with their growth. The
Mhm.
other side is a lot of social media, just information. I think part of it is helping people understand the knowledge base that Primus has. On LinkedIn, you'll see our articles, you'll see our posts, you'll see things that we are talking about now because it's important to keep people informed of what's happening.
Yeah.
There's also organizations out there that we've worked with who are lead generating organizations. So they'll
Mhm.
do 90% of the conversation with potential clients and then transfer those clients over to us to close those deals. So I think those are the three main things that's working for us right now. In the past, we've done PR, we've done paid ads, we've done newspaper ads, but the I think the level of actual connections that we've made comes mostly from that smaller, more intimate emailing system, phone call system, word of mouth system.
Okay, got it. So from what it sounds like, a lot of word of mouth, building those relationships, and we like to talk a lot about it on the podcast, right? Is that idea of predictability, right? Because with referrals, word of mouth, not the most predictable way, especially as you mentioned,
Yes.
pipeline can dry out. What does that next step look like for you? Because I know you guys have tried paid ads. You're looking at other ways from an email marketing perspective. How are you building predictability in the business? What does that next step look like for you as a founder with lead gen?
I think the next step for me is just getting the name of Primus out there more, right? So the goal of we're producing some webinars that we're going to be putting out. We're trying to talk at more conferences. We're doing more podcasts, interviews like this. So the goal is really getting Primus name out there more, right? I think it's like we're a quiet hidden gem where the organizations who know us are happy with us, but we don't really talk much about have a longer reach where we're talking to more organizations so they can understand
Right.
what we're doing. I think that 3C model is a great tool, and I think it's going to help a lot of organizations. The 3C webinar that we're doing once a month starting July 31st is a free webinar.
Yeah.
Join, come talk, let's talk about how it helps. Because underlining what I care about is the fact I want to see more small businesses hit 5, 10, 15 years, right? That 3C model, we believe in it a lot. So for us, the next iteration is just getting out there more, doing more
Mhm.
conversations, doing more face-to-face interviews so people know about Primus and getting the name out across the country a lot more.
Got it. So, as far as paid ads, I'd love for you to elaborate on that for our listeners, what your experience has been like there as a founder, as far as trying that out. What were some of the results yielded there, especially because it is a big topic talked about in the entrepreneurial community?
So I think paid ads could work for certain organizations, right? If you're like e-commerce organizations, I think paid ads are perfect. But is the intention of who you're looking for as an organization? We work for the CEOs of organizations, right?
Mm.
A lot of them sitting on social media looking at paid ads, probably not, right? They're skimming through. If they're not working, they're skimming through for fun. They're not really looking for it. So when we put out thousands and thousands of dollars and we don't receive anything back, we have to do a really good look at, is this actually working for us? And
Right.
the idea became, no, it's not working for us. But I have known organizations who do paid ads and it
Mm.
works for them great. But I think it has to a little bit more to do with the type of organization. Accountant HR is, like I said, it's a really intimate
Mm.
business. So I don't know if it's going to work in that same way.
Mhm.
But there are organizations that it works for. There are systems that paid ads, I believe paid ads are good. It could just be that I haven't found the person who can design one properly yet for me that actually makes it work. But for
Mm.
us, it just did not work. And we've tried it for about 4 or 5 years, and it just felt like it's something that's just not budget friendly for us at this point.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting how you mentioned that because we've worked with actually a very similar company like yours with strategic management, organizational design, and they actually scaled targeting C-suite CEOs to seven figures per month just through a paid ad strategy, doing 800K a month. Yeah, it's an important topic to talk about when it comes to
Yes.
messaging, right? That having to be niched down to where you can start to scale using a strategy like paid ads, right? Being one of the ways to do. So yeah, as far as like sales goes, what does that look like for you? Are you right now doing the sales calls in the day to day? Do you have a sales team in place handling things? Is it just the Janneh show? How is all of that structured right now in Primus?
So it's a 85% Janae show. There is a team who helps me with the administrative part of it, but the sales part, the conversation part is 100% me. It is something that we're looking at because, as I said, if I'm trying to do the more of the outward facing, have people talk more about Primus, I can't possibly do sales at the same time. I will burn myself out. So it's something that we're looking at right now to see if there's someone we need to hire a salesperson or if we need to find an organization that can help us with that. But right now it is 100% me.
Got it. How are you navigating things as an entrepreneur in the day to day, focused on the founder level work, in the fulfillment? What's that experience like as you're looking at growth and scaling the business?
It's a lot. It's a lot of time just thinking through strategies and what's the next plan and how do you do this. There's so many organizations out there. There's so many theories out there. There's so many experts out
Mm.
there that you spend time learning from them. You spend time researching and you try to find the best way to manage your time and your time doing sales and your time managing your company. So as I'm doing it right now and trying to really design out how to make this work, it's kind of like splitting my time into three quarters, into three pieces where there's the sales part, there's the PR part, and then there's the part where I have to spend time with my staff, with my clients. Because right now we're 20 something year old organization, but we still feel very much like a nimble first 5 year kind of organization. So
Right.
sometimes I have to go into to client meetings and lead the meetings. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I let my team do it. But
Mhm.
it's pretty much those three. There's the sales, there's the outward PR portion of the organization, and then there's the direct client service part. So I'm still doing all three. And at times it can get a little hectic sometimes.
Yeah. No, I could imagine. As far as for you, that next step is really to elevate Primus. You're looking at delegating things, even possibly, right?
Correct.
Finding some help on the sales side, maybe bringing someone in to help with those conversations with clients. Is that sort of the next step for you as far as like the bottlenecks and like really taking it to the next level?
Yes, I have my management team in place, so I'm starting to push more on them. Like you said, delegating more things to them to manage the day-to-day operations so I can really focus on that PR side and the sales side. I think having someone who can assist me on the sales side, I can, as every CEO will tell you, no one in this world is going to close Primus like I can close Primus, right? So I think I still need to be part of that conversation until I train someone to be that good at doing it. But I think having the team have my confidence in
Mhm.
managing the day-to-day operations, I can really focus on those other two parts of the PR side and the sales side to really grow it. But that's the goal right now.
Yeah. So moving in that direction, finding even maybe like a closer to help, especially because you're the founder, you're the face of the brand. But that's really where your head's at is like finding some of that talent there so that you can focus on being a founder, being the CEO at the end of the day.
Exactly.
Love that. So what's the vision then over the next 6 to 12 months as far as growth goes? Any revenue targets, performance milestones you're aiming for? Paint that picture for us for Primus.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things that we're trying to do. I know I mentioned before the uptake or the growth of AI is something that the accounting world, the HR world is really seeing as an industry disruption, right? So how am I going to fix that situation for the organization? How are we going to really create a space where we can still be successful in what we're trying to do? Because behind all of the technical work is the idea of let's help these businesses grow. So for us, creating new programs, right? We're doing an HR training in the next couple of months, and what the training is really geared towards new managers, right? People who've never managed before, and now they have six staff members, they don't know what to do. We're doing more of those. So we're trying to create new programs that allows us to still in that same wheelbarrow of helping companies grow, but we're going that route with it, right? So how can we do more trainings? How can we do more consulting work? How can we create more systems? So one of the things in the over the last 20 years, we work with organizations that
Mhm.
aren't really startups. So they've proven themselves already. They're making money and they're ready to grow. That's who we were working with. So we actually created a new game plan to go from startup all the way through. So these 40 buckets of where they sit. That way we
Mhm.
can assist people from the beginning of their business all the way to making their first million or more,
Mhm.
but understand that our engagement grows with them. Not a one price fits all, regardless what size you are. So we're starting to create those little different aspects because we see that there's a need for more companies to assist the newer companies as well as the older and help them really go through those scales of business cycles.
Yeah, I love that. So really getting the name out there even more, empowering more organizations from what it sounds like. I have a fun question for you. So I want to get a bit hypothetical. If we brought a genie in the room and you snap your fingers, he appears, and you rub his lamp, and all of a sudden there's unlimited resources, what would you implement immediately to accelerate the growth of Primus today?
Wow. I think it's that salesperson. I think it's that sales department, right? Between sales and systems. So I think first is the systems part, because I want to make sure that we're using the right systems for my team that is able to expand as we expand, right? That's always going to be paramount to what we do. I think the second part is creating that sales team, having the resource to spend 6 months training someone who's not going to bring any money into the organization.
Yeah,
That'd be helpful because no one has time for that. You don't have 6 months to catch up. I need you to catch up in a month so that way I
yeah,
can make sure that you're at least covering your own salary. Uh,
yeah.
but if you had unlimited resource, I think that's what it would be. I'd probably hire a sales team, give them
Mm.
6 months of really in-depth training of how to do this and how to talk where we do, and then send them out there to work. But that would be a great help if we could do that.
Love that. Yeah, and it puts you back in that founder level role essentially at the end of the day. So you can
Exactly.
do things you love. How do you see, a couple last questions, how do you see the business management and consulting industry evolving in the coming years, especially with a lot of your focus on economic empowerment for the minority community? How is Primus Business Management positioning itself for that type of future?
So as I mentioned, right, the when you look at how many businesses do
Mm,
not make it past 1 year or 3 years, and you start to really dig down on why, right? I'm not talking about business who are able to sell and exit happily. I'm talking
mm,
about business who make mistakes and end up with extreme amounts of it. One of the biggest things that we've learned, I live in New York State, and workman's comp is a must for every organization.
yeah,
And if you make a mistake with workman's comp, it can cost you like $15,000. Small businesses can't afford to shell out $15,000 and be okay with it.
right.
When we're talking about the growth of organizations, it's
Mm,
about let's start businesses in a different way, right? It's not just wake up tomorrow, you know what, I'm good at this, let me just do it. There's stages to this, right? Yes,
mm,
you're good at what you do. That project, that system, that service, you are the greatest person on the planet at it.
yeah.
But business is not the same thing as being good as a craft, right? So let's start at the ground. Let's start helping them develop systems, help them develop their employee manual,
Mm,
their compliance calendar. Let's create these things in place so that way, no matter what happens at the next stage, they're
mm,
ready for it. For us, the next phase of business management, of really looking at organizations not as a cash bucket for the organization, but as a real system. Because for me, the idea of what a small business is more than just a revenue generating for a family, right? A small business can change a community. A small
yeah,
business can change the legacy of an entire family for generations,
right.
right? So instead of a person spending the family's last $50,000 on a business, and according to the world, only 10% of them is going to make any money from it, and now
Yeah.
the family's in dire need. I want to be able to help people take that $50,000 and show them how to really make the business grow and how to make the
Mm,
business really foundationally level. That way, their kids can inherit it, or they can sell it for their kids and make more money and start really thinking about that generational wealth, that legacy for the organization. As well as when you look at like community-based small businesses, they
mm,
are more likely to hire people from their community, right? That
mm,
means there's more money coming in the community, there's more dollars exchanging around in the community, and then people around that community gets a better life. So the
mm,
goal of this is, yes, we're a business. Yes, I'm a consultant. Yes, I'm an accountant. But at the heart of this is how do we help communities do better? My master's degree is in entrepreneurship and finance, and I've always watched how sorry to say the name, but how a Walmart can destroy a community. Because
of
when people
course.
think about it, it's not, yes, Walmart brings in 10,000 jobs, but they also killed 10,000 small businesses.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
now those people in that small businesses, that community just lost a leader in a business leader. That community just lost a person who's going to invest in the schools, who are going to hire your son when he's in high school to give him a job over the summertime. So
Mm,
all those are important in the aspect of growing a business and growing a community. So that business consulting, that next generation needs to really think about how our work is essential to the
mm.
development of communities, not just our pockets.
Yeah, 100%. And I think especially with what you're doing, this is so mission driven. There's philanthropy behind it. I'm super excited to see your success, especially as you look to
Thank you.
empower more small businesses. We're cheering you along the way here.
I appreciate it.
As we do wrap up, I'd love for you to share a little bit about the best piece of advice you've received about scaling a consultancy, perhaps from your experience in your past experiences or elsewhere. What does that look like?
The best piece of advice I was given, a quote was
Mm,
today versus tomorrow. A CEO's job is about tomorrow.
mm,
The staff's job is about today, right?
mm,
The only way your business is going to work is if you understand that line. And
right.
if your job is about tomorrow, that means the PR, the sales,
Mm,
right? You need to have your staff able to deal with today, managing the day-to-day, managing the clients, managing the staff. Once you're able to really see and understand that line and start creating SOPs and systems to allow the staff to really manage today, your ability to manage tomorrow is going to be awesome. Right.
yeah.
So I think that's by far the thing that helped me really visualize what I need to do as a CEO of an organization is understand that my job is about tomorrow, is about growing the business. And for me to do that well, I had to sit and spend some time to create
Mm.
SOPs on how to do the day-to-day management well, and I can delegate that to my staff while I really think about the future of the organization.
100%. And before we do wrap up, the best piece of advice you would give to the listeners out there that are looking to start their own business, what would you say on one last note?
Jump. I think that's the greatest advice for it is you can spend a lot of time second guessing yourself, being scared, being nervous,
Right.
and that time will pass quickly.
Mm,
And every time you do it, there's so many business owners or pre-business owners that I've heard, they look at things that's happening right now. Oh, I thought about that 10 years ago.
mm,
Jump. You see something that you want to do, go at it. Doesn't mean you have to quit your job. Doesn't mean you have to spend all your money on it. It means you start to work on that process as slowly as you want or as fast as you want, but start. You
mm.
have to start because if you don't
Yeah.
start, life gets in the way, right?
Yeah.
That person didn't start. That person didn't do that project last years ago because they had a child and they got married and another job came up and this came up and this came up, and they kept pushing that idea to the back front because all of life got in the way.
Mm.
Start, it becomes part of your routine, it becomes part of your life, and nothing will push it away because now it's actually a living object that you are moving forward with.
Yeah, 100%. On that note, thank you so much for joining us today, Janneh, and sharing your incredible journey and background. Really, I'm super excited to see everything you're going to do within our community, scaling businesses, building operations out and systematizing. And as far as it goes with like the best way to reach out to you, what does that look like?
Sure, our website is probably the best place to get in touch with us about our organization, which is primusco.com, primusco.com, and on there you'll find our phone number, our contacts, and we're a very friendly group of people. So drop us a line, email, phone, and we'll definitely jump on a call with you anytime.
Incredible. On that note, that wraps up in another inspiring episode of Founders Future. Feel free to subscribe to our channel, and you can also check us out at Spotify and Apple for some more episodes. And for more resources and insights, of course, don't forget to visit us over at closers.io, where we're dedicated to helping businesses scale their growth through trained appointment setters and world-class sales and marketing systems. So until then, everyone, keep climbing, and we'll see you all on the next one.